This video will demonstrate the internal verification process for YSL4, YSL5 and YSL6, the formal levels of the Young STEM Leader program. Internal verification is a process that happens between the tutor assessor and internal verifier. The tutor assessor, when completing the program with their Young STEM leaders, is responsible for assessing their logs and any other evidence that is generated as part of the award, and during verification, they'll share a sample of those logs with the internal verifier. The tutor assessor completes the first stage of the IV1 form. The internal verifier must be a trained tutor assessor, but they can be from the same or a different centre than the tutor assessor. The IV will review sample logs provided and complete stages 2 and 3 of the internal verification. More details about quality assurance can be found in the Quality Assurance Verification and Certification Policy in the Resources tab of the Young STEM Leader website. Internal verification can be completed in two ways, either by using the IV1 form appendixed in the QA policy, or by going to the Internal Verification tab on the Young STEM Leader website. In the first stage of verification, the tutor assessor and internal verifier should agree on the Young STEM leaders that are going to be in the sample batch and the dates for the next stages of internal verification. The tutor assessor will then complete stage 1 online or on the IV1 form, and this will get approved by the internal verifier. To begin internal verification, click Formal under Internal Verification on the tutor assessor dashboard. The first step, or stage 1, is completed by the tutor assessor, who first selects the SCQF level that the Young STEM leaders are working at, and then inputs the cohort size and the size of the sample batch, which must be at least 20% of the cohort size and should represent Young STEM leaders of different abilities. Enter the full name of each Young STEM leader in the sample batch, and you can then click Continue to Next Stage, or you can save this and return to your IV dashboard. Before moving on to stage 2, you must first nominate your internal verifier. Type their name and click Search and select the appropriate account from the list. When you click Nominate, the internal verifier will receive an email that they have been selected for internal verification. The internal verification dashboard houses all outgoing, where you're acting as a tutor assessor, and incoming, where you're acting as an internal verifier, requests. Once you nominate your internal verifier, they'll receive that request under Incoming Requests on their internal verification dashboard. The internal verifier can click Continue, and first they must review the Stage 1 information that the tutor assessor has provided. This information can be accepted or rejected. When the internal verifier accepts Stage 1, they'll be prompted to complete observations before progressing to the next stage. Stage 1 can also be completed by the tutor assessor using the IV1 form. In Stage 2, the internal verifier completes an observation of the tutor assessor. This can be face-to-face or remote. The observation should include the tutor assessor delivering the Young STEM Leader Award and making assessment decisions. The tutor assessor then provides comments based on a quality assurance checklist, and these comments are in Stage 2 of the online version or Stage 2 of the IV1 form. The tutor assessor then can review this and approve or reject. On the internal verification dashboard, the internal verifier will receive this request under Incoming Request. After the observation, they'll then need to complete Stage 2 of the internal verification process. Stage 2 involves comments based on the quality assurance checklist, and the internal verifier should provide supporting comments for every stage, ensuring that these comments are supportive to the tutor assessor and reflect any issues or problems that arose during internal verification. Here is an example of a completed IV1 Stage 2. Comments should be made for every section, and click the orange eye next to a question to expand it. You can toggle yes or no on the questions. Please ensure to provide a full commentary on the IV1 Stage 2. Following the quality assurance checklist, you'll be asked to identify matters arising, anything that came up during the internal verification process, and any action required based on these matters. You can then submit, save and return to dashboard, or opt out of the internal verification process. The tutor assessor must approve Stage 2 before moving on to Stage 3. The tutor assessor will receive Stage 2 in their internal verification dashboard. They should then review and accept or reject as appropriate. If they accept Stage 2, they'll be prompted to share logs with the internal verifier. Logs can be shared digitally or using physical copies. Stage 2 can also be completed in Stage 2 of the IV1 form, completed by the internal verifier and approved by the tutor assessor. To complete Stage 3 of the internal verification process, the tutor assessor should first share the sample logs with the internal verifier via the website, using email, or by sharing physical copies. This depends on the method you have been using to gather evidence. The internal verifier will then review the assessment decisions made by the tutor assessor by comparing the evidence to the relevant support notes for that level, as well as reviewing the quality assurance checklist. Comments should then be provided based on this in Stage 3 of the online IV process, or by completing Stage 3 of the IV1 form. Following the log review, the internal verifier should then complete Stage 3 of internal verification. They'll be asked to confirm whether or not the sample logs were completed appropriately, and then provide commentary based on this. And they'll be asked to confirm whether or not they believe that the assessment decisions made were accurate. Any matters arising or action required should be identified here by the internal verifier. Finally, the tutor assessor is asked to review the Stage 3 comments made by the internal verifier. And if they accept, they are given a chance to make final comments relating to the internal verification process. These comments can relate to any actions identified or can be a chance to make general comments about the quality assurance procedures. By clicking Accept, internal verification is now complete. You can now move on and request certification, and please note that you may be selected for external verification at certification stage. Stage 3 can also be completed by the internal verifier on stage 3 of the IV1 form, and again this is approved by the tutor assessor. If you have any questions about the quality assurance process, please get in touch with us via the details on your screen.